Oh man, it is a lot going on in the world of Caitlin Clark. New sponsorships to the left, new deals to the right. It's a lot going on. We are gonna get to everything. Oh, that's a boss move. Oh, that's a crazy boss move. That's a flex. Hey, listen, I understand. You got Nike deals, you got freaking PGA Golf Tour, Live Golf Tour, you got hockey sponsor. I know you got a lot going on, but to turn down 15M.
By now, you've probably seen the headlines. Caitlin Clark, one of the biggest stars in women's basketball, just turned down a $50 million WNBA contract. And you might be wondering, why would she say no?
If y'all thought a few million and some equity was going to get her to show up and play in your league, you got another thing coming. I said it. If Unrivaled want Caitlin Clark, y'all, a minimum of 10 million plus like 50% ownership of the whole league. That's where we start. That's the starting negotiation point. I might have undersold her, y'all. I might have undersold Caitlin Clark. Look at
$50 million is life-changing money. Who would ever say no to that? I get it, most athletes can only dream of a deal like that. But here's the thing, this wasn't just about walking away from money. It was about walking away from control, expectations, and the limits the system puts on women athletes.
Is on welfare, okay? If they weren't on welfare, then the league would fold and there would be no women's basketball. And that is basically what has been revealed in this bombshell report about the WNBA being on track to lose roughly $50 million this year. $50 million, which is significantly more than the WNBA had been losing on a yearly basis in the past. Now, again, this is a little bit surprising because of the explosion in popularity of the WNBA due to Caitlin Clark, okay? But once we get into the details, it's not really all that surprising. But at the same time, reports like this kind of drive home the point that reasonable people have been trying to make about the WNBA.
Picture this. The WNBA, desperate for a superstar to secure its future and finally stand tall in the sports world, offers Caitlin Clark a $50 million deal. The commissioner probably expected her to cry tears of joy, or maybe even faint from the shock.
Recent report dropped that the Big Three reportedly offered Caitlin Clark 15 M's for 10 games, but she declined. Crazy. Her endorsement deals must be pretty decent for her to willingly turn that down, because we know her WNBA salary is nothing to brag about. But for her to do that, I guess I look at it like this. If she were to have accepted that before she even stepped foot on a WNBA court, I could only imagine how they would have treated her. I don't even think she would have made it through half the season. She would have had a season ending.
This was the biggest offer in WNBA history, something the league had never seen before. But instead of celebrating, Caitlin did the unthinkable. She glanced at the deal, nodded, and calmly said, "No thanks." In that moment, the entire sports world shifted. But why did she turn it down? Was she really walking away from a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Or was she making a move that could redefine her legacy, not just as a player, but as a business force and a symbol of power in women's sports?
She declined it. If that doesn't tell you how much money Caitlin Clark is making, I don't know, bro. Because who's saying no to $15 million for 10 games? She doesn't even have to score 10 points and she still would be making more than a lot of NBA players make. But Caitlin Clark isn't even back from an injury yet to play for the Indiana Fever. Do you guys think Caitlin Clark should have taken this $15 million deal?
Let's start with the offer itself. The WNBA knew exactly what Caitlin Clark brought to the game. She wasn't just a player. She was the future of women's basketball. She wasn't an athlete you watched. She was an event. Fans didn't just buy tickets for the game. They came to see Caitlin put on a show. She was hitting threes from NBA range, making highlight reel plays look effortless, and turning the WNBA into a household name.
They would have no fans. And I think that a lot of people are forgetting the fact that just, again, a few years ago, before Caitlin Clark was in the league, this is what it looked like at a WNBA.
It was the reason the league finally caught the attention of mainstream sports media. Before her, WNBA games were an afterthought, tucked away on TV schedules and barely noticed. But Caitlin Clark changed everything. Suddenly, arenas were packed, merchandise was selling out, and people started paying attention to the WNBA, not just as a league, but as a cultural movement.
Basketball. Your cousin Caitlin Clark just got an 8-figure deal with Nike.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our community is up in arms. They not feeling that. They mad Aja Wilson don't got a shoe yet. And it's simple math, bro. Aja Wilson played in the championship for the WNBA, and the final game peaked at like 1.2 million. Caitlin Clark played in the Final Four, and the game before the championship game peaked at 17 million viewers.
Caitlin Clark is gonna come to the WNBA and violate that shit.
It wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about Caitlin Clark. Without her, the league wasn't only missing ratings, it was risking the very future of women's basketball. So when the WNBA commissioner put the biggest contract in league history on the table, they expected a moment of triumph. Maybe a flashy press conference with confetti raining down, or an Instagram post that would instantly go viral. What they never expected was rejection.
To do something about this, Kathy Engelberg, you need to get a hold of what's going on here. The officiating Kelsey Mitchell getting knocked around like a damn pinball, shoots 4 free throws. Aaliyah Boston plays an entire game as big, as strong, as physical as she is. Aaliyah Boston shoots 0 free throws. And she wasn't standing at the 3-point line. The officiating is flat out atrocious. Everybody else is getting calls. I think it's ridiculous. Just the fact that Aaliyah Boston shot 0 free throws tells you everything in it.
It wasn't just a no. It was a game changer. To understand why Caitlin Clark turned down $50 million, you need to understand who she is and how she got here. Caitlin isn't your typical basketball player. She didn't just join the WNBA, she redefined what it meant to be a superstar in women's sports. From the moment she stepped on the court, she was a force of nature. Her shooting range was unreal, her ball handling skills almost otherworldly, and she had the rare ability to make the simplest plays look like highlight-worthy moments.
That do not be surprised that President Trump speaks on with that kind of audience that is protective of a Caitlin Clark and what she stands for and what she represents. And they come to a conclusion that they believe she is being unfairly treated. That is going to be a problem for the WNBA. And based on Trump's history with the NFL and him being an obvious sports fan, goes to events and stuff like that, he pays attention to this kind of stuff. I'm just warning them. Watch it, because if he gets involved and that base gets involved, because somehow, some way they embrace victimhood on a part of...
But it wasn't just about her skills. It was about the energy Caitlin brought every time she stepped on the floor. She became the player everyone wanted to see, even if you had to pay a fortune to get a ticket. And then there were the numbers. In college, her jersey sales were among the top in the nation. Her social media following exploded at a pace most athletes, male or female, could only dream of. Fans weren't just watching her games. They were following her every move. This wasn't just basketball anymore, it was a movement. Caitlin had a rare kind of star power, and the WNBA knew it. They saw the writing on the wall and felt they had to lock her down. But here's what they didn't understand. Caitlin Clark didn't need the WNBA. She could earn more off the court, through endorsements, sponsorships, and her personal brand, than the league could ever pay her. So when they slid that contract across the table, expecting her to leap at the offer, Caitlin just shrugged. For her, it was never just about the money. It was about something much bigger.
They did it because the sisters was upset that Caitlin was getting so much attention, and they had to, the league had to hold Caitlin back or allow Caitlin to be held back with the refs, allowing the physical play against her by the players, the media diminishing her impact at every turn, and her play, and the league never coming to her defense to, try to thwart off some of her.
$50 million. That's the kind of money most athletes only dream about. With that kind of deal, you could retire early, set up future generations, and live like royalty. So when Caitlin Clark turned it down, it wasn't just a decision, it was a game changer. But here's the truth. Caitlin didn't reject the money. She rejected the idea that anyone could control her. She didn't need the WNBA to validate her worth or to reach her goals. She had already built her own empire. The league tried to tie her down with the biggest contract in its history, and Caitlin wasn't having it. Why commit to a league that has historically underpaid and undervalued women athletes when she could make more just by being herself? Think about it. Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm were already lining up with multi-million-dollar endorsement deals. Her social media presence alone was a goldmine. So while the WNBA dangled $50 million for her loyalty, Caitlin was already earning more by simply being Caitlin Clark. And when news like this breaks, the internet explodes. Fans split into two camps. On one side were those who saw Caitlin as a genius, someone who knew her value, refused to settle for scraps, and took control of her career. They viewed her as a visionary. On the other side were fans who felt betrayed. They accused her of being arrogant, selfish, and disrespectful. To them, turning down that deal wasn't just rejecting the league, it was turning her back on the future of women's basketball. But here's the reality. The WNBA didn't make Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark made the WNBA matter again. Before her, WNBA highlights were as rare as Bigfoot sightings. Once she arrived, she changed the narrative. Without her, the league might still be struggling just to get airtime.